pick up the slipstream when he needed, and he ended up 7th fastest.
Yeah, but this is the place that he took his first ever victory in Rookies Cup here a year ago. He knows how to go really quick round here. He's just got 6 or so problems ahead of him. But as you can see on the ticker on the bottom of your screen, we have a lot of penalties from qualifying yesterday, which has impacted the first couple of rows on the grid. Namely, the likes of Christian Daniel Jr., who would have been 5th on the grid, bumped down to starting in 21st for this race. That actually moves Hakim Dinish up from the 3rd row to 6th on the grid.
Yeah. So he's got to really pull his finger out if he's going to get back on terms for a podium battle.
They're really clamping down to look for a tow safely, and clearly it was deemed that those other riders were not doing that.
No, that's right. And you know, it'll be fascinating race. I really don't think, the way things are here, that anyone's going to break away. You really do need, you know, that slipstream, and maybe a couple of guys can do it. Maybe Pratama and Uriarte are quick enough to get away from the other guys, but I don't just see it being a lone runner. Of course, somebody's going to prove me wrong.
Yeah, could well do. Well, let's have a quick rundown of the grid then. Pratama, Uriarte, Gonzalez, Pugliese, Thompson, Dinish, and Ramastorfer, Tessini and Tinez are your first 3 rows. Then you've got Ramadhipa in 10th, ahead of Moundsy and Agostinelli. Really good run out from all 3 of those on the 4th row of the grid. Van Kruten, Da Costa and Joel Pons are row 5. Row 6, Alejandro Fernandez, Lucas Brown and KJ Monignane, row 6. 7 is Lennox Famara. Welcome back to action. Young Lennox still on crutches, I saw on Thursday, ahead of Zed Mitani and Christian Daniel. Then you've got Benyat Fernandez, Kyatzak Singapong, Yaroslav Karpushin, Marco Morelli and Guillaume Plonk. Of course, this is how the grid will be for this race only. Tomorrow it will be as they qualified. There is the number 40 taking off there on the grid. A bit of a slow getaway, I think, but seemingly
okay. And it was a sort of side saddle. It was very old school, before accelerating over the start and finish, just up into 5th gear as they go off into the start and finish.
I think we should give you a lap on one of these with running commentary, please. Let's hook you up with the GoPro someday. That'd be quality.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we are. They're forming up on the grid then. Pole position on the right-hand side of the grid, because the first corner is on the left. Veda Pratama, the 16-year-old Indonesian, lies 12th in the points at the moment. 16-year-old Spaniard Brian Iriarte is in the middle of the front row, 3rd in the points. David Gonzalez, the 17-year-old Spaniard, 11th in the points, completes the front row. Who's going to get the good start? And it's going to be fascinating to see the guys coming off the back of the grid, the likes of Benyat Fernandez. On the rev limiter, and away they go. Certainly Brian Iriarte's got a good run. You can see the 51. Is he going to? No, it's Veda Pratama who has the advantage. It's Veda who leads into the left-hander. Brian Iriarte right behind him.
It was so orderly.
Steep it is how they drop off the edge of the world here, back into first gear. First gear through the left-hander, and then they accelerate. They short shift 2nd, 3rd into 4th, and drive through 4th gear. 11 of David Gonzalez picking up the slipstream of Brian Iriarte. Has to back out of it as Brian swings into the left-hander. And as long as the guys behind are not silly, I'm sure that Brian will catch Veda. Of course, there is the question of what gearing have they chosen. Has Veda chosen a gearing, perhaps the lower gearing, that he doesn't need the slipstream?
Real Marco Morelli's weekend just going from bad to worse at the moment. Finisher in Rookies Cup. He was on the rider sent to the back of the grid for this.
And he came off the back of the grid, so it's only taken him a lap and a half to get all the way up into the top 10. And there is Veda still leading.
Really impacted Benyat Fernandez. Is someone else has gone down too there as well. A few riders going wide there. I wonder what on earth has happened. It looks like it was Tinez, the Venezuelan, tumbling down our timing screen, as well as Benyat Fernandez. Oh dear. The front. Brian is catching Veda, and he's got David Gonzalez with him.
And I think Veda was perhaps using a little bit too much road coming out. He couldn't quite get on the gas.
As well, I believe, unless he's just gone really, really wide, caught up in some kind of chaos. But our timing screens confirm it is Ramastorfer and Benyat Fernandez who have both crashed out.
And you saw the number 11 of David Gonzalez make the pass on Brian Uriarte. The previous lap, we'd been on board with Brian looking back at David Gonzalez, and he couldn't do it. Well, he made it work this time. If they slow each other down, then Veda is going to disappear. But the number 11 of David Gonzalez looking super determined in second.
Their own little battle back in 8th and 9th on our timing screens, just a swap over from there. Got to give a shout out to Thompson and Mounsey. That's a good start from them. Thompson could have expected him to be in this front group, perhaps with his pace and qualification, but not today. Fastest lap of the race goes to Hakim Danish on the back of this pocket into the final turn. That is an impressive move, because that is so fast into there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I say they don't brake, they flick it in there, scrubbing off the speed, then on the brakes as they go into the left-hander, and absolutely sensational stuff.
Well, now it's getting spicy, because Pratama has not got the lead that he once had, and it's Uriarte up the inside of Pugliese who gets the switch back there. Or does he? No. Uriarte says, no way, chap, I'm having that into turn 2. Up the climb towards turn 3 we go, and you think it's steep on the way down for the reverse corkscrew. This is quite a brutal climb for any runner or cyclist, as we see.
Saved a very, very nasty collision with the tarmac on the way down. There is a number 11 of David Gonzalez, the Spaniard. He's the 4th of those 5 riders. And it still is Veda Pratama who has the advantage. Brian Uriarte in second.
Look who our top 3 are, Peter. It's as if Pratama never went away and had an injury. It's like we're watching Jerez again, but you've got the speed.
It does. And there's the number 13 pulling out of the slipstream. But behind is now Danish, and this is the battle for the cup. Beñat Fernandez, of course, is out of it. He's in second place in the points, but he's not going to be there, I think, at the end of this one.
No, absolutely not. Let's have a further look down the field then. We got the likes of Morelli, who is absolutely at the back, is now picking up a point. You got the Frenchies, Plon and Da Costa there, 13th and 14th. Singapore is down in way down. So that's a very, very decent ride so far from him, as well as Mitani in 8th as well. Agostinelli, the Vietnamese rider there, up into 9th place, as well as the number 9.
Down the corkscrew again. You're looking back at what a great picture that is. Looking back at Hakim Danish, and now forward Brian Uriarte, and the leader Veda Pratama on the 54. And 8 laps to go. You know, we're not halfway through this yet. There's still laps to go and a couple of corners, and then sort it out over the last couple of laps. And there is the group behind it. It's another slip-streaming battle, and of course it's the 85 of Katsik Singapong there. Mike Yu is his commonly used name. That's a lot easier than saying Katsik Singapong. Mike Yu, his mates call him.
I'm just having a look then. David Gonzalez in the Moto3 Junior World Championship last time out in Jerez just last weekend, came away with 9 points, 7th place finish in race 2 for him. So certainly taking that confidence from there through 12th and 13th. So Morelli's found his feet.
Morelli, you remember, go back to Assen La down weekends. That's just the way it is. And
well, I do know he's. I was just going to say, Maverick Vinales, the management agency, Marco Morelli said, actually it's part of Maverick Vinales' own agency, and he came by the tent yesterday to sort of instantly after qualifying to see what was going on with effectively one of his riders. You know, big part of that agency was
you mate, because I know that from the Red Bull Athletes Performance Centre was one of the mental coaches. So if he can help Maverick, maybe Maverick can help Marco Morelli on the mental side. Because you know, when you're that quick, when you can win a race on a different planet like he did at Essen last year, it really has. There's nothing wrong with your riding skill. It really has to be a mental thing, doesn't it?
You know, exactly. He's very, very high praise rider in the Junior World Championship.
Straight.
No, absolutely right. So I think these ones aside, one rider on the move is Zen Mitani, who's now into 6th place at 2:02, lapping similar pace to these guys here. But Yaroslav Karpushin up into 10th place at 2:01 last time around. Karpushin was one of the riders that found himself way down the order on the grid, 24.
Because he was penalised,
exactly.
I think. So yeah, he was. You know, he came along this weekend and was quick enough in practice. So I think, you know, it's great things to see him battling through the field like that. He certainly gave a lot of it. Oh, and Veda Pratama having things moving around quite a lot. That gave him a reason to be concerned, and he's gone from 1st to 5th. in one
Well,
corner.
there you go. There you go. As we see, Singapong's gone down. That's a shame for Mike New. Was having a really good race. Was just going to touch upon car pushing. Say to avoid Hakim Danish, who goes up the inside of it there. Danish thinking, I've got 4 second places. I am not. I'm telling you, I'm not finishing second again. It is win time for me.
Right, okay, and you pointed out the lap time. It was 2:02.8, relatively slow. Well, maybe some of the guys have realised that. Maybe Giulio Pugliese thinks, I can go quicker than this. Hakim Danish thinks, I can go quicker than this, and he takes the lead.
Yeah, there we go then. So round the final corner we come, and it will be 4 laps to go, and this is it. Getting a bit spicy here as Veda Pratama is just slipping off the back a little bit potentially there, as they're 3 abreast across the start and finish line.
No, I think he's not slipping off the back. I think he's there. I think he knows he can wait for this. None of them are running away. Last corner, you just got to go for it. And that was it, wasn't it? You know, he positioned himself well, but it was just absolutely grit, determination and gearings. Did he have to change at the wrong time? They only go up to 5th gear there, but whatever. Hakim ran out of steam, and Brian had that little bit of extra push.
7 thousandths of a second was the gap at the line then, and Gonzalez got third. He got added to him. First Rookies Cup podium for him. Absolutely brilliant from the Spaniard. So it's a Spanish sandwich with a Malaysian filling.
Yeah, and Veda picked up 4th ahead of Pugliese. And I'm fascinated to speak to Veda after the race and find out what just went when he was leading, you know, and how he went from 1st to 5th in one corner. And what was that, you know, and how did it affect the rest of his race? But Hakim Danish, well, you know, he came from 7th place in qualifying, didn't enjoy qualifying, wasn't happy with himself. And that's, you know, the sign of a really good rider, a really great rider. They can put that behind him and battle for the win. He had the win with like 10 metres to go, didn't he? And it just he ran out of steam.
Wow, I mean, what a race. That was one of my favourite Rookies Cup races I think I've ever commentated on. Just such a great game of cat and mouse.
Well, that's
just
right.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, these guys won't believe it when they see how much they lost out to. And it wasn't just like 1 or 2 good riders. They lost, you know, they were caught by about 6 guys, weren't they?
Yeah, what an absolute cracker that was. I mean, also, David Gonzalez, congratulations, because that's a really, really, really good ride. To get 3rd there, you know, and also your first home race in Rookies Cup. And Brian doffs his cap.
I mean, he's had a good start to the season. He picked up